NWorld.net.
Hello and welcome to the In Crowd. I am your host, J.Love. This is another NewBeWorld.net episode right here. Now, what we have here with Welcome to the In Crowd, this is a show that we want to be able to entertain, engage, and inform our community on what's taking place and the people that are around them having an impact on society. Now, with this being the very first episode, I have a very, very, very special guest here with me today. Today, I have Byron. For those of you who don't know, Byron is my older brother. So a lot of the things that he's sharing, I got to see it firsthand and in first person. So without further ado, Byron, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, bro.
All right. And one thing we like to do here on Welcome to the In Crowd is ask the question, how are the children? And that question comes from the Maasai tribe in Africa, which was a very fierce tribe, but they felt like everything that they did was to benefit the kids. And because if the children were well, then that meant that everything was good. So I'll ask you that question, Byron. How are the children?
I'm going to say Bella is doing outstanding. She just turned 7 in February. We are excited about welcoming a new addition to our family at the end of July. I also know that my niece and my nephews are doing extremely well, but we got some work to do with our Black youth at large, and I'm excited to talk about that today.
All right. Now, currently, Byron, what do you do right now? What's your current role?
So currently, I'm a vice president, product lead of talent acquisition at JP Chase.
All right. And so now before we dig deeper into that, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. So I want to know what your childhood was like, even though I kind of know, but I want you to explain to our viewers so you can tell them about where you grew up, your family structure, and some of the things you were interested in.
Awesome. Well, let me start off by saying I was blessed to have the best little brother in the whole wide world. Growing up, definitely a double parent household right up until around high school. House was filled with a lot of laughs, a lot of jokes, a lot of entertainment, a lot of good music, definitely a lot of neighborhood camaraderie. I wouldn't have traded that experience for the world.
Oh, okay. So now let's think about elementary school. What's something that kind of stood out to you about elementary school growing up?
When I think about these memories, bro, I like to kind of lump them into two categories, kind of cool and school. So in elementary, what was cool at the time was video games. That was like right with the introduction of the Nintendo system and really getting acclimated around those offerings. And I think from a school standpoint, it was all about reading and being very proficient in discovering the ability to read recreationally, not outside of assignments, just picking up books that you were interested in and reading.
All right. Now, here at N.U.B.Y World, we got a big focus on the youth. So we're going to stick with the school theme right now. So tell me something that stood out to you about middle school or junior high.
All right. In middle school, the cool thing was ribbon. I don't know what they're calling that these days, but it's kind of where we used to
be roasting. They might call it now.
where you sit around and come up with creative details around some of your friends. That was a huge thing going on in my middle school experience. And the school part that I would like to highlight around middle school was more of that creative expression with rapping, participating in plays, participating in the gospel choir. Those types of outlets really stood out to me in middle school.
Okay. Now, high school. What stood out with high school?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest. I think high school was a little more cool than school. So don't make that mistake that I made there. But the cool thing going on in high school was the dances and the parties and kind of hanging out. Like we used to do a lot of that, going up to different clubs to go skating, different house parties, and different type of school functions that were available for students to get together outside of their class-to-class kind of interactions. The school part of high school, I felt like was like stuff like the Botillion. I really enjoyed that experience and participating with Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and meeting more like-minded individual Black students in high school that were just trying to get ahead. That really stuck out to me.
All right. And so from high school, you decided to go to college. So tell me a little bit about college. What college is, how many years, what type of degrees?
Sure. So when I left King, and just backing up a little bit, I went to La Follette Elementary School. Awesome experience. Samuel Morris Middle School. Awesome experience. Then on to Rufus King High School. After coming out of Rufus King in 1998, knew I wanted to go to a historically Black college and university, which is acronym for HBCU. So I did my first year at Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia. That was a good experience. Learned a lot about the tri-state area, but the people weren't as nice as I thought they were going to be. So I was excited to get into my second year of college and transition down to Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee, with my brother and my cousins and about 14 other of our closest friends from Milwaukee, all coming through that experience. After Tennessee State, I came out in 2002 with a bachelor's degree in business information systems. Worked for about 11 months, then went on to pursue my MBA degree in information systems at Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. So now if you could travel back in time to a younger version of you at any of those points in time that we just discussed, what would be some advice that you would give yourself?
I would definitely speak to that kind of 10th grade Byron, because I think that was a very formative year for myself and a lot of my colleagues and cohorts at that time. And what I would tell him is, you're going to be talking to your brother when you're 42 on an interview and be kicking yourself for not focusing up more on the school piece than the cool piece. So that's what I would tell 10th grade Byron Purdy is, don't trade off too much cool for school, because the cool will always be there. It's not running out of cool, but what is running out is being able to make an impact in your schoolwork. And if I would have knew that in 10th grade, we'd probably be having a lot more robust conversations around what other educational opportunities I had, because I would have focused a lot better in high school.
Okay, that sounds like some great advice, not only for a younger you, but for a lot of our viewers out there. So now we talked about your childhood. We talked about going to school. We're going to jump back to present day. So remind everyone what your current role is.
Sure. So I'm a vice president, product lead of talent acquisition at JP Morgan Chase.
Okay. Now, what was the preparation or the process to achieve this role that you currently hold?
Gotcha. Most people formally come through like a technology degree program or some sort of engineering background. But let me tell you, that's not the case. You've got to be kind of three things. You got to have a CEO mindset, you've got to be creative, and you've got to be persistent. The CEO mindset is important because as a product owner or a product lead, you're representing all parts of the business: finance, accounting, engineering, manufacturing. You need to understand all those facets of an organization to be a successful product person. The creativity is important because you want someone who thinks outside of the box. You don't want anybody who looks at a whiteboard and is intimidated. You want somebody who looks at a whiteboard and says, I think I can draw this type of solution, and being able to collaborate with people to make that solution very robust. And the persistence piece is really key, because in this role, you'll often get told, hey, Byron, you can't do that. But you've got to follow up with why. Maybe it's a no right now. When can that no become a maybe? And kind of understanding and driving all those conversations. So persistency is very key.
Oh, okay. So now, what does a day in the life or a day at work look like for you?
So when I wake up in the morning, my first emails or my first kind of engagements are daily stand-ups. So this is a formal conversation where I'm getting together with people on my team for 15 minutes to say, what did you work on yesterday? What do you plan to do on today? And do you have any roadblocks or things that I can help you with? So we go around the room and answer all those three questions. After that meeting, I'll probably get into some other type status meetings. Maybe I'm getting an engineer update from our engineering team. Maybe I'm getting an update from our website team, and kind of just understanding where we are on a weekly basis with status with those different groups. Then there's always time in the day to make space for that collaboration that I mentioned earlier. We're either getting on a Zoom together and collaborating, or maybe we're getting together in person on a whiteboard and thinking through solutions and getting feedback and collaborating that way. At the end of the day, I always make space to give back. So I make my calendar open to mentor and coach other employees who are interested in getting into the space, or talking to students like yourselves in a middle school, high school, or even college setting that are interested to work at Chase. I always make time in my day to do that.
Okay. Now, what's something about your current role that a lot of people might not know?
Let me emphasize this point directly, bro. You do not have to be an IT person to be a successful product manager. You can be a musician. You can be an electrician. You can be, somebody who is very detailed and making like crochet. As long as you have that CEO mindset, you're creative and can drive, execution through persistent engagement, you're going to do excellent at this job. So don't let anybody say you need a degree to do this necessarily, and don't let that discourage you. It does help, having foundational understanding of product management. So I would encourage everybody on the line, if you're interested, just do a keyword search. Just go to Google, type product management, type agility, understand those concepts, and there'll be awesome, other links within those experiences that you can then go research and find out more.
All right. So now, what gets you up out of bed every day? What motivates you to continue to do this every day?
Well, let me be honest, bro. I'm the only Black person in the space right now at Chase. So just showing up was huge for me. But now I got to show out. So once I'm at the table, I've got to tell them I am the table. So what motivates me is, being very impactful in this role and affording opportunities to people who look like us to come behind me and really add value in this space. So I'm going to lean into my Black excellence so there can be more Black excellence coming in behind me.
Okay, thank you. And now the next section of this episode is about filling your cup. So we here at N.U.B.Y World feel that it's very important to take the time to prioritize yourself, your well-being, your mental health, your mental wellness, and just prioritize yourself at times and relax. So what are some things that you do to spend time on yourself and to just recharge your own batteries?
Well, I recently was married this year, February 2nd. So we did a big trip down to the Maldives. And I'm sure a lot of people don't even know where that is. And that's a part of my filling my cup is international travel. I really like to go, a lot of places outside the US. So I've traveled extensively in South America, parts of Europe, Mexico, just different places to see different cultures. So that's definitely one way I fill my cup. Another way is video games. I think I noted that in the elementary school cool part. Once I saw that first Nintendo game and we got that, it was kind of a lot from there. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to enjoy doing this for the rest of my life. So I continue to play a lot of Xbox, Madden, NBA 2K22. Me and my wife are playing Asphalt 9, and it's a kind of couples game called It Takes Two right now. So just getting a lot of enjoyment out of that. And I say the third thing is, this type of opportunity, being able to speak to Black youth, being able to give back to the community. I do a lot of volunteering with our local Tennessee State Alumni Association here in Dallas, the NAACP, National Black NBA Association. I also sit on the leadership team for Blacks United and leading technology for North Texas. So any way that I can just advance that Black agenda, it's filling my cup up.
Okay, so now you mentioned travel is one of your ways of filling your cup. If you could give out one travel destination to any of our viewers, what would that place be?
I'm going to say for all the single guys on the phone, Rio de Janeiro. Please definitely go there before you die. And then for all my couples on the line, it will be a little expensive, but I definitely recommend the Maldives. It was definitely the most relaxing place I've ever been in my entire life. I can't wait to get an opportunity to go back there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we'll start getting ready to wrap it up. But before we do, what is your message to the youth? If you could just say one thing to all of the kids out there.
Youth, look me square in my eyeballs right now. Please prioritize the school over the cool. The cool will always be there. The school will get you much, much, much further.
Okay, so now we come to a close. I want to thank Byron for being a part of this show and officially welcoming him to the In Crowd. It's not really welcoming him to the In Crowd. He was one of the original founders of N.U.B.Y World way back when it was just a brotherhood, a tight friendship, a circle of friends, almost like a record label, all of that when we was just a crew way back then. So he was one of the first. So he's always been a part of the In Crowd. Before we go, Byron, do you have any shout outs?
I want to recognize definitely all of the N.U.B.Y members globally, nationally. Everybody's just turned out so awesome. It's so It's just very rewarding to look across, all the brothers and our cousins and the relationships and see everybody just doing extremely well. So I want to shout out the whole Newbie fam. Also want to recognize our mom for being such a integral part, to our upbringing, and definitely my shero in my life. If it's anybody that I can say I wanted to pattern my life after, it is her, with, starting in business, then transitioning to education, and still, giving back in the community as she does now, just being the babysitter for your kids. And I got some kids coming online she's going to need to pour into. So I want to have a life like that too. Be very impactful, give back and educate the youth, and spend time with my grandkids. I think our mom is a great role model for that. And I say the last person, shout out to everybody doing these videos. You're taking your time out of your day to do this. You may not see the value now, but they're going to probably bury this in some time capsule and pull it up in 4023, and they're going to be like, yo, this video is life changing. So what you're doing here matters. Thank you for taking the time out to do this.
Thank you. I also want to second that shout out. Love you, mama. Now, real quick, you did mention giving back to the neighborhood and to the community as well as education. Where can people go to find ways that they can have access to you and some of the content that you're also putting out?
Definitely. I am a professor on the OutSchool platform. So that's OUTSCHOOL.com, OutSchool. My name there is Professor Purdy. I have 2 courses out there, one for Black History and one for Agile. If you're interested, just access OutSchool.com, search up my name, and shoot me a note that you want me to do a class for you. The content is very good for 12 and under, also for 12 and up. I can make it work for anybody. So check me out on OutSchool.com if you're liking what you're hearing I'm putting down today.
There we go. Now, before we go, I do want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to log back in to newbieworld.net as well as Newbie World on YouTube for more content. 3 things before we go. First, love yourself. Second, like the video. Third, subscribe, and we will see you soon. We out.
Like and subscribe.